is everyone this morning? My name is Craig Wright. Outside the classroom, you just call me Wes. A little bit of confusion with that. Just stick with Wes. It makes everything easier. I'm going to talk about the benefits of social networking, and I want to focus on a few questions. How we use social networking now, like how we use it just generally, just like when we get back from classes, we check Facebook for like 20 minutes, stuff like that. How it can be used, important things like how we can use Facebook to actually affect greater things in the world besides just liking someone's status or something like that. And then how we should use it, the responsibility that goes along with social networking, things we can actually do besides just sitting and browsing through people's Facebooks. A few stats. I like kind of Facebook's opening page here with like the connections between everyone. America, USA, yeah, whichever one. We use Facebook a lot. I know that for a fact. I mean, 5 years ago, I could probably ask you guys how many people have a Facebook. I'm going to guess everyone nowadays has a Facebook. A few stats on it from HuffingtonPost.com. Every time somebody goes on Facebook, they use it for at least 20 minutes, and every time somebody goes on the internet in general, 50% of the time they're using social networking sites. So I know most people in America are using Facebook. Besides that, now that we know that everyone uses Facebook, it's how do we use it and why do we use it. It's the important thing I want to stress. And something Facebook can be used for, positives Facebook can be used for, is I know it's kind of cheesy, but sometimes when there's like a special day or like a holiday or something like that, like let's say something that just passed was 9/11. Sometimes people see it as cheesy when like there's a picture of like the Twin Towers or there's like the 50,000 likes for the troops or 50,000 likes for the victims. Now, some people kind of blow that off as it's cheesy, and they just kind of like keep scrolling down their news feed or something like that because they're just bombarded with a bunch of pictures. I kind of think it's something that's cool because it's really just an interconnection of the world of people saying, you know what, we all understand this day, the importance of it. We're going to remember this right. It's not. I'm not going to say that like use Facebook as your calendar to remember important things. That's not what I'm saying. It's just Facebook can be used for other things to remind ourselves what's really important. Now, Facebook can also be used for, the police actually used it once to catch somebody by the name of Melvin Colin. He was convicted of murder, and he got called on Facebook because he put pictures of himself, incriminating pictures of him doing drugs and drug trafficking. And he made his Facebook private, so he thought the police wouldn't actually find his Facebook, but the police actually just asked one of his friends if they could see his information, and the friend said yes, so he got arrested because the police can do that. Also, in Cincinnati, they arrested about 71 people. 71 people that are connected on Facebook. There's a lot of uses besides just normal, day-to-day like our use for it. I know a lot of people get scared, like, oh, the police have access to our information, things like that. But that's all about our responsibility of what we put on Facebook, and how we control our Facebook really can make an impression. Like, let's say we use Facebook for liking political candidates or something like that. Like I know a lot of people in Barack Obama's past election, a lot of people threw the statistic around, well, Barack Obama had the youth vote. He didn't win by a landslide, but in the youth vote, he won by a landslide. Like he had 4 times the amount of Facebook supporters than John McCain had, and he had 4 times the amount of MySpace friends. I know MySpace kind of went out the window, but he had more internet push than McCain did, and it kind of shows as youth, as us, as a people, we actually made a difference in a pretty important decision, which was the presidential election. So there's more power we actually have in Facebook than we kind of take account for. Transitioning the idea of us having the power, going to Twitter. The Twitter is the bird, and the bird's the word. Kind of like a little joke, that song from Family Guy, if everyone's ever seen that show. Well, us having the power, in Libya a year and a half ago, people had a lot of these smartphones. My first smartphone, really happy about it. I like it a lot. It's a lot of money. But in Libya, they used smartphones and tweeting to inform the rest of the world what was going on, and in Egypt as well. Now, a man by the name, I'm really going to butcher this name, Wally Ghonim, was the starter of a Facebook page in Egypt that led protests. He was the person who said, okay, let's have a protest on this day, and we're going to flood the streets, and that was the first protest of Egypt. Now, he got arrested, but he got let out 12 days later, but he was the actual person, and through social media, he set the first step into getting the protest started. After that, it was a downward spiral. The people took control of the protest. It wasn't as social media revolution, as some people like to say, kind of takes away the idea of what the people did and how they really affected it themselves. But the tool that they were able to use through social media it shows how much more important they can use it compared to how we can use it just from liking each other's statuses and things like that. In Libya, in Libya, a lot of people might say, well, be skeptical of the idea. Okay, let's trust social media as a tool. Now, in Libya, the United Nations actually entrusted 30 different Twitter users, to look at their tweets and to say, let's try to get some information from them. So they got 30,000 tweets from these 30 different people, and then they kind of limited them down from process of elimination. They said, okay, what amount of these tweets have to do with things in the future? And out of the 30,000, only 144 of them mentioned things in the future. Like, so this is when protests are going to happen, this is when people are going to get together. And the United Nations actually used this information to carry on with helping the rebellion. So through tweets, United Nations actually got some form of information because they didn't have any feet on the ground, any people in Libya at the time. This is back in early 2011. And this is from HuffingtonPost.com. They actually were able to really effectively and physically help a revolution, which is a pretty important step, and just that's never been available to the country before. Now, a lot of people might also be wondering, like, why should we do this now? Like, what's stop? Like, I mean, why can't I just go home and I'll eventually, gradually get in the idea of using Facebook for good? This is just a picture of Facebook and the mention of them and making Facebook public. When they made Facebook public, they kind of expected it to be a really expensive, big thing. But, I mean, the stock kind of dropped. It showed that Facebook wasn't as big as everyone thought it was going to be. My main point is just Facebook might not be around forever, and it seems like it will be. We forget a lot of times that technology moves fast. Like 5 years ago, that's when the first iPhone came out, and about 12 years ago, it's when the first really publicly released camera phone came out. Just the idea that we have more control over the world than we think, and it might not be like we might not have the opportunity to be as socially interconnected as we are today. It's a lot more powerful to me to think about somebody in Libya using the tweets for good than to think about someone tweeting about what times of the day they're eating or when they're going to the bathroom. That's all. Thank you, guys. Do you have any questions for me?